Hello viewers, here is a Master Mechanic Model 207-MM Professional Electric Glue Gun. This is, I believe it's rated at 120 watts. Here's the informations. Is made in USA, and it's 160 watts. I stand corrected. I believe it's all metal. The trigger is definitely metal. Let's see here. It's not magnetic. It may be maybe bakelite. I'm not sure. I can't really tell. I think the handle is, I don't know. It's sturdy, whatever it is. And in the box, there was some glue that came with it, at least when it got to me anyways. Also, Master Mechanic brand. This is copyright 1978. Also made and printed in USA. This has been perfectly preserved for probably at least 30 or 40 years. It's going to stay that way. I bought some new glue, which is also supposedly made in USA, though I have my doubts about exactly how made in USA it is. So first off, I gotta get something to put this on, because it doesn't have a stand. This, the glue gun is self-standing, may be set down safely as shown when hot. Well, in my case I don't think that'll be too safe because it's going to contact the carpet, so I gotta find a block of wood or something to put it on. Okay, that'll work. So now let's plug this thing in. I believe this is the first time it's ever been plugged in because there's really no trace of there ever being any glue in there. And if we remove the tip, there's no glue in there as well. You can see right through the whole thing. There's something a little odd about this, about the hole there. It's like an extra tab in the middle. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like that or it wasn't molded correctly or whatever. I don't know. This would have had well, it does have interchangeable tips, but I only have this one. This looks like a relatively small one, but it should suffice for whatever I'm going to do. Okay, it's a non-polarized plug. Oh jeez, we're having a little freak show here. The cord is not very long, and this does not stand up particularly well. Alright, it's plugged up now, and I don't think there's really any way to tell that it's on other than to wait a few minutes and see what happens. There's no glue in here, so I suspect it should heat up pretty quickly because it's not melting anything initially. On the box here it says load glue gun with 2 sticks, so I guess it was probably designed to use those very small ones. These are not those, but I think it should work fine. You can pause the video and read this if you'd like to. This says it'll be ready in 3 to 5 minutes. I suspect that this will be ready in 3 or less because there is no glue already in there. Now what I don't quite understand here is that piece in there is not circular, it's square. So let's see. Oh, I guess it's like rubber on the sides. Alright, well whatever, it's in there. And it's already melting and it's pushing in further. So it's somewhat up to temperature. But I'll give it a few more minutes here. What we're going to glue is this thing. This is the only thing I could find that I could put an outrageous amount of glue in there at a really quick, all at once, and it not be a total waste. This thing, it falls over regularly. It really shouldn't, but that's a whole other issue. And I glued it once, and it held fine for 7 or 8 falls, and then it broke again. So at that point I just kind of jammed it in there, and it's fine the way it is. It's not going to come apart. It hasn't come apart in months. But I want to test this glue gun, and I think this is the best way to test it, other than just like putting glue on a piece of wood or something is a complete waste. At least this would hold some kind of a purpose. Let's see here. Okay, something just popped there. Ah, there we go. It looks like it's ready. Yeah, this is a very small tip. Let it heat up a little bit more. I don't think it's all the way up to temperature. But it did work. And the glue came out. It's kind of stringy, that's why I think it's not up to temperature yet. Supposedly, the high temperature hot glue is not supposed to be as stringy as the low temperature hot glue is. And the low temperature hot glue I've been harassed about profusely in the comments section for whatever reason. Okay, let's try it again. Oh, this leaked. My low temperature gun doesn't do that. I guess this is getting it so hot there's no way to control it. It's just liquefied. Well, it seems to have ceased to work. Not sure what the problem is here. Yeah, it's definitely not working anymore. Does this have a switch on it or something? You know what I should have done is put this into the kilowatt meter to see if it's how much power it's drawing. It seems like it cut off. I'll get a kilowatt meter out here, and I'll plug this up. All these cordless phones are taking up all the outlets here. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Daggone pest repellers in a way. I don't even know if this stupid thing works. I should measure the power draw on that and see how much power that draws. Okay. Watts. 0. That's not good. What the heck? 0 watts. I wonder if it cut off in thermal overload. The top of this is pretty hot. Okay, it just drew. It's drawing power again, and it's not drawing power. It's not. Okay, I'm gonna unplug this immediately because I think there is a loose connection in here. As I was moving this cord, it would draw power and stop drawing power. So we're gonna have to repair this. Well, I wasn't expecting to have to fix this, but that's okay. It looks like it's pretty easy to open. So I'm going to cut here. We're going to do another video for the repair, and then I'm going to come back in this video and we'll finish testing this. Let's undo these and see what the connection looks like. That looks fine. That was the problem. That was not even slightly twisted together. I'm not going to do a whole separate video on that. It wasn't interesting enough to warrant a whole other video. But I do want to mention, as much as it's disappointing that it was like that, it was so easy to fix. It's so serviceable, and that is a characteristic that you will just never find, or almost never find, in anything made today. So anyways, it's working now. Oh, for heaven's sakes, it says 0 watts again. Well, hopefully it says that just because it got the temperature. Let's try, because it's still hot, so let's see if this is going to work this time. Oh, I guess I didn't put this back together correctly. Well, for now, we'll just do this. Oh no. It's, is it still coming through? I can't even tell. No, it's not going through anymore. Okay. This has turned into a freak show. I wonder if this only grabs it just enough to push it through when it's hot. It's definitely getting warm. Still drawing power. Oh, jeez. Okay. I'm going to turn it off for this. Oh, it already lost power. Not drawing any power anymore. It didn't even get up to temperature enough to melt this stick that's in there. Whoa. Jeez. This is awful. There we go. That's how it's supposed to be. I'm not sure why it did differently than the first time, but now it's working. Or it's just jammed, but I think it's working. Alright, so I have suspicions that that's a thermal switch, and I'm going to remove it away from the gun just for the moment. Let's see here. Of course it's hot now, so I gotta be kind of careful in regards to how I do that. That's not gonna work. I may have to just wait for it to cool down and then get it off later. Yeah, that's on there pretty good actually. Or wait a minute. Okay, yep, that's a little bit easier. Just do that. Now, of course, this is not safe operation any longer, but it'll offer some insight to the issue here. I think that's fixed. I'm going to plug it back up again and let's see if it draws any power. Okay, it's drawing power, so it's heating. It's still drawing 160 watts. At least at the moment it doesn't seem to really be getting any significantly hotter. It's not hot enough yet to melt any glue. It's still heating. Okay, now the temperature's going up. I'm getting some readings near 300 now. Alright, I'm seeing smoke. I think that's coming out from where the thermal switch was mounted. Still not, it's not even moving the glue through for some reason. Oh, it is now, somewhat. I think it's jammed or something. Alright, clearly I'm going to have to let this cool, and then we're going to have to do some closer inspection. The glue is still dripping out, but it's not coming out the tip. I think it's coming out like in between there where it connects, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense at all. I don't know what's wrong with this. Oh, well, brilliant me just glued a tip to a wrench. Okay, oh jeez, get that off the bench. I think there may be something wrong with this tip, because clearly this is getting hot enough to melt the glue, because the glue is still pouring out of there. There appears to be some kind of a nozzle. I'm going to have to zoom in on this. Actually, is that hot enough to pick up? No, it's 218 degrees. There's like a nozzle there, or not a nozzle, well, there is a nozzle in the frame. There is a, whatever the word I'm thinking of is. There is a valve type thing right there. It looks like that ball would press in, or it does press in. I was experimenting with it before the video. And so I wonder if there's just something wrong with this tip. So what I'm going to do is, since I think the gun itself may be okay, I'm going to put the thermal thingy back in place. And of course this is going to be a mess trying to operate it this way, but I'm going to put the thermal thing back in place. And we're going to put the cover on. I'm just going to let it run for a minute without the nozzle in place and see how it behaves. If it continues to melt glue, obviously it's not very useful without the tip, but we can get another one of those. Okay, why is this not? Alright, something's not right because this fit together perfectly fine before, and now it's not fitting together fine. Ah, I see what the problem is. And this is exactly why you never force things when they don't work. This wire should be like that. Well, I don't like that because now it's too close to the element, so I'm going to put it like this. That should be okay, I think. Yeah, because there is like a little canal for the wire to go through on the other side as well. So let's try it now. Gotta remember to zoom out. What now? It went together better when the stinking wire was in the way. Okay, so now it's going together all the way. Well, most of the way anyways. Let's just check one more time to make sure nothing's getting crimped in there. I think it should be okay this time. Okay, that looks right. Screw it back together. And let's see if glue will just start coming out of this thing. High temperature glue, that is. Because this is a high temperature gun. I'm just stuck with my stinking low temperature gun because it never gave me this much trouble. Although I suspect once we figure out exactly what's wrong with this thing, it should run reliably for many, many years to come. Alright, so even though there's still glue leaking out of there, I don't know if it's up to temperature or not. I'm going to plug it in now. We got 163 watts. We'll give it a minute or so to warm up. Let's see here. Glue is starting to leak out, but it's not. It's not going through. Oh, there it goes. Let it warm up a little bit more. Now I suspect it's going to stop heating at some point, and that's probably normal operation. And it's going to start and stop based on how hot the element is. It's still heating. There we go. Now it's pumping the glue through there. It's still heating. Now there's smoke coming out of the machine now, which is extremely unsettling. It's still heating according to the kilowatt thing, but it's obviously not getting hot enough to melt that much glue at once. Stopped heating, at least according to the kilowatt thing. I want to see it start heating again any minute now, because it's starting to get harder to push it through, so it's definitely cooling off. It's hardly melting at all anymore. Still not heating. Although it's still pushing the glue through. Of course, this is not really a good way to test it, because this glue is coming out of here much faster than it would if you had some kind of a nozzle to control it with. Oh, I hate wasting resources like this, but all things considered, I have more glue here than I'll probably ever use, so. Yeah, even though it's not heating, it's definitely hot enough still. So I'm just going to kind of waste glue here until it starts heating again. And if it starts heating again, then I'm going to say that we need to get a new tip. It just started heating again. I'm going to try to put the tip back on and just see what happens. Maybe I didn't have it tight enough or something. Let's see, I'll probably get burned doing this, but sometimes you have to take risks. Okay, looks like it's screwing on now. I'm going to use this to get it the rest of the way on. I'm going to put it on very tight this time. Okay, that's a little bit tighter than I had it before. So let's see what happens. It may need to just let the heat run through to the tip perhaps and heat it up. I don't know. This is a freak show. It's still heating. It's starting to come through, but it's very hard to get through. There's definitely something wrong with that tip, I think. It stopped heating. Okay, now the glue is coming through pretty easily. Oh yeah, this is great now. Okay. There's still smoke coming out. I guess maybe that's normal. I don't know. I've never used this high power of a gun before. I would have expected with 160 watts you'd be able to just go stick after stick through this thing. It did not have a problem, but it seems to want to take a break again to heat up. It still seems like it's coming through there at the seam. Whoa, and it shouldn't be doing that. Well, that's cool. Now the wrench is stuck on there. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Alright, Alright, it's kind of locked up again. I don't think you should have to pull this as hard as I am in order to get it to come out. Yeah, well, I have another gun here that I want to try. I've been wanting to try it anyways. It's... Get ready for this. It's a low temperature gun, but it's 40 watts. So it's a lot more powerful than the other one that I typically use. Because this is the one that I normally use. See, it's a low temperature. Low temp. And I think it's only like 7 watts. It's 10 watts, okay? But I have this other one that I got, which is 40 watts. It's suggesting to wear safety glasses during use. Normally I always heed that warning, but I really cannot fathom how glue is going to like explode out of here and cause a problem. This is heating again. At least it's drawing power again anyways. And it's still very hard to... I mean, I can get it to come through, but it's not as easy as it should be. Now this one is missing the stand, which is going to be extremely challenging to use now without that. But I'm going to plug this one up here, and let's see how this one works. Put a new glue stick in here. And I guess I'll just put it on there because I don't know what else to do. And now this one is leaking. I think it stopped leaking at the seam though. It's not heating at the moment. Now see, now it just got really easy to push through. Now it's just going through like butter now. It just ran out, it was going through so easily. Uh-oh. Looks like there was some backlog. Oh jeez, this is a mess. And it's a glue gun falling over Freakshow here. Still going through real easily. It just froze up. I think there's something wrong with the tip, because the way this is turning on and off now, after the wire nut's fixed, it seems like it's heat cycling properly. So I think a new tip is in order for this. Oh, now it's going through real easy still. Maybe it just needed a lot of time to warm up. I don't know, let's do what I was going to do before, and let's fill this thing up with glue. Oh jeez, there goes the other gun, the 40 watts low temperature gun. Not the low temperature one, that's the important one. I'm just going to balance this up against there like that for now. It's all sorts of dangerous, but whatever. It's getting very hard to pull again. And now it's, I mean, I'm pulling as hard as I can and it's just barely coming out. Okay. Yeah, so I think there may just be something wrong with the tip on this one. I think it's heating again. So I think the element is okay. I think the element's okay. I think there's something wrong with the tip. And I'm not an expert in glue guns, but that's what I can gather from my knowledge of the material here. So I'm going to have to experiment with trying to buy a new tip. I don't know if these are standard size. I know the wrench, which is now stuck to the piece of wood, is a 1/2 inch. The threads, I suspect, are just slightly smaller. I don't know. Yeah, I think I think it's safe to say this is working. Now this one here, this one's not doing anything yet. Let's see if that one even works. I don't know. I'll switch the plugs for a moment. It should be pulling 40 watts. It's pulling 14, 13. So maybe this other one is spoiled. 12 watts. It's getting warm, but not like maybe 10 degrees above ambient. It's not anything to write home about. It's only pulling 12 watts. It should be pulling 40. Well, this was supposed to be a nice show and tell video of this vintage glue gun, but I think now we're just going to call it Glue Gun Freakshow, because quite frankly that's a more accurate description of what's going on here. Now this one's emitting smoke again, which is kind of unsettling. If the glue is getting that hot, then it should be going through just fine, and it's not. It's not even coming through at all now. Alright, well, you know what? I'm going to turn this one off, and I'm going to look into getting a new tip for it. In order to put this thing down, oh, the bottom's not hot, okay. The information's fell off. I'll put that back in the box. Just stick this down here then. Now this other gun, looks like something kind of came through. Oh, it's starting to work now, but very, very slowly. Now it's getting a little bit warm, and then not very much. 94 degrees. Now this one is plastic, so it's not going to conduct the heat of the element as much as the other one is, I don't think. I don't know how old the glue stick that's in there is. It doesn't look like it's clear anymore, so it's probably relatively old. I'd like to get that out of there before we really say this thing stinks. It's only pulling 10 watts. It seems like it should be, or it should be doing more than that because it's rated for 40 watts. It spiked, excuse me, to 20. When I first plugged it in, now it's back down to 10. Well, now it's working pretty good. You know what, I should stop pushing the glue through there because that's cooling the element. I'm just going to let this sit here for a moment and warm up. Alright, this has been sitting for several minutes. Looks like it's starting to leak out now. It seems like it's working relatively normally. At the moment it's down to drawing. Oh, it's back. It was down to 9 for a moment, now it's back up to 10. This one's kind of slow, but it's working. can tell it's slowing down a little bit, but it's still feeding just fine. And this is the behavior I would have expected out of the other one. So I think the issue with the other one is going to be the tip. So I'm going to go and obtain some new tips for it, and we'll go from there. Low temperature. Focus.